When I explore the land, whether I'm hiking or biking, I can't help but feel like I'm a character in some magical fantasy world on a pilgrimage to greatness, even if I'm just meandering Kananaskis. It's like the trees cast a spell and seduce me into forgetting about the chaos outside of the forest. And inside this enchanting world, I engage in fantastic conversations with my adventure mates and dream positive things. The natural images unraveling as I explore almost always inspire poems, story ideas, and intriguing self reflections. To me, this land is a place thriving with tales. It intertwines creativity with staggering beauty. But this land has been embroidered with stories long before I walked its paths, and this is something I need to acknowledge. As a Calgary citizen, I acknowledge the array of ancestral traditional stories etched into rivers that now carve through city streets. The work of our original caretakers embedded in footprints now covered by sidewalks and major roads. And the rumbles of wildlife now denoted to whispers tucked into the mountains and rural land somewhere, or forced into extinction. We owe an endless thank you to Indigenous peoples, the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Tsuut'ina First Nations, Stoney Nakoda, the Métis Nation of Region 3, and their ancestors for where we live, where we work, where we drive, and where we walk. We recognize that this land belongs to a never-ending book authored by Indigenous peoples and their ancestors. We are mere side characters meandering this land, one tucked into a line in a chapter that explains exploitations, pain, and fury caused by European settlers and Canadians. This land is not ours, but I want to honor the traditions, culture, and ancestors that have danced, walked, and lived on this land before me, and with whom I share the land with now. The road to reconciliation is a long one. I plan to start with listening, reading, and hearing Indigenous stories and unlearning the romanticized perspectives of European settlers and Canadians cloaking history textbooks and our culture. I want to discover more sides to the story than just the single story, which will benefit my future classrooms. I want my students to learn what I never learned in school, to listen to guest speakers, to hear multiple perspectives on history. As a future teacher and a Canadian citizen, it's my responsibility to educate myself on Indigenous peoples, and it starts here, with acknowledging ancestors and cultures forced into corners and by recognizing that Calgary doesn't belong to me because I am Canadian. This land belongs to the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Tsuut'ina First Nations, Stoney Nakoda, the Métis Nation of Region 3.